And then she said, at least I have water. That was my, okay, what bugs me is no matter how far back I sit, like you're always further back and my head looks even bigger like my father's.
Is it round?
It is round.
It just makes me crazy.
I even try to contour it to not be round. I can't contour the roundness
Like
out
the
of
day
my.
Taylor got on, and I didn't want to say anything because you guys always say I'm so judgy, but like there were like 3 lines and then a line across, and then I didn't say a word, and we're on the meeting for a little bit, and she's like, "God, I might have contoured a little harshly today."
That's why P contours like straight lines.
Oh my God. Penelope's contouring across her eyebrows, which her eyebrows are already pretty aggressive.
Like mine. Like her, but they're darker. I swear hers are darker than mine. Very like.
But yeah, she contours right across her eyebrows. I love that a 2, is she 2? Yeah, 2-year-old knows how to contour.
She probably contours better than I do.
Well, I know she contours better than I do because I don't contour. I don't even understand contouring. So
I usually, okay, the one thing I did with when I was trying to conquer my mental health was
you contoured yourself to happiness.
I did contour myself to happiness. I started like a face routine, which I will say my skin has never been smoother. And I did Dermatologica's like face thingy where it tells you and would you like to know where my problem area is? My eyes. But the rest of my skin was really good, so I'm actually proud of that. But I started putting makeup on it, like getting ready every day. But I swear, I forget we have the podcast, and every day we have the podcast, I just put like the tinted moisturizer and some blush on. That's it.
And so I like having the podcast on Wednesday because then I at least have my makeup on by the end of the day when I teach, so I don't look like Hagrid. But so I can't believe we're talking about makeup. It's like you're in my mind. So today I'm getting ready and I'm a little like off kilter, and I showered in warm water, which again,
we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. But I got this new concealers, 2 new concealers. And one is for my under eye, which I don't know, maybe it's helping if I sit like at a very specific angle. And the other is the green for my age spots. But I looked a little bit like Elphaba from Wicked.
Linda. Elphaba.
Because it's green. And then I was like, oh my God, I need a new foundation color. And I just looked a little sallow. Like I maybe had a kind of a stomach ache. My skin was just tinged. Because again, I was reading you should put on my whole face is an age spot. I don't know like how oh my God. Anyway, yeah. I'm like, oh good. I'm green.
I don't see that you're green. And I didn't think you were green in our other meeting either. Right now you're a little blurry just in general. I can't, you're blurry, so I can't tell that you're green or not. But I do not feel like you were green.
I had to put on way more. So here's my problem is I probably had to put on the appropriate amount of foundation to cover the green because I am not like my skin's so dry. Like putting on foundation.
So I started using is it macaroon? The oil that you put on. Moroccan. Okay, you should hear me order at Starbucks because I order Corrado. Cortado?
Corroded?
Cortado, their new drink. Oh my God. And that's exactly how I sound ordering it. I'm like, I don't know what it's called. Can you tell me what I'm trying to say? That's how I order it. And they're like, oh, the new drink with the brown sugar and the 3 shots. I'm like, that's what I need. Yep.
What exactly. Is it? I mean, what's I don't want to say it, but what?
It's 3 shots of espresso and oat milk and brown sugar because I like that brown sugar shaken espresso. But I can tell you what it is. It is Nope, I can't tell you what it is. Sorry. Thought I could, but I can't.
I like it.
Cortado. Cortado. Cortado?
Cord- I don't know.
Cortado? I don't know, but I order it every time. And it is, yeah, it's like the 8 ounce little tall cup thingy. Anyway, it's good, but I can't say anything. So literally my entire day is people trying to guess what I'm trying to say. And people wonder why my son is struggling in language arts. You should meet his mom. Do you see this? Anyone who is on a video, I have a PhD diploma in my background. I actually
Thank
also have my
God for
master's
AI.
degree in my background. That was
Thank
not
God.
AI. That was Google search. Okay, let me Google. What were we doing? Oh, if anyone would like to call in, ever, now we don't have a line,
I was
but if
like,
you'd like to
do we
send a
have a
message,
call-in option?
how do I explain to my 9-year-old the ending IBLE and ABLE? Like, which one has IBLE and which one has ABLE? Can you tell me? No, so I Googled it as we're doing homework, and the only thing I can find is that IBLE is typically more proper English than ABLE. But so his spelling words are like readable, something else with an ibble at the end of it.
Readable is an ABLE, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
You
but I
say it
can't.
readable or whatever. It's your pronunciation that probably also confuses him.
No,
Plus,
I pronunciate it with the correct letter in it so that he can get it. Right now we're doing the stupid same one. So like sell and sell, pause and pause.
sell and sell.
Yeah,
Oh,
like I
I
sell a car, I have a blood cell. The
live in a.
dog has paws, I push pause on the TV.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I got it. Oh Lord, it's been a
But let
long.
me tell you, yeah, exactly.
It's been a
Okay,
long.
this actually makes sense of why I can't explain it to my 9-year-old because look who is trying to explain it to me.
Sell and sell. There's two cells. I also am highly educated, but apparently not very smart. Education, education and
Oh my
intelligence
God.
does not match.
There's no corresponding. There's not a correlation.
No
There,
correlation between
no
which I think
correlation.
we already knew that. Not specifically from us.
I agree though. You don't have to be like super, super smart to go far in life. Like if you work hard, I do think, okay, I think that people who are just naturally smart, they do have a little bit of an advantage. But I know people who could be running politics right now who are instead sitting at a farmer's market, and that's what they choose to do with their
Well,
life.
that's probably even more intelligent than the other because let
I'm
me
just
just tell you.
saying, we have a very, very intelligent person in our family, and I love him to death, but I want him to go be in the president's
Oh my
office.
God. Okay, let's since we love to talk about our family because they can't actually respond. So I get it.
It's because they won't come sit on here and rebut. There's no rebuttal.
I get
I
it.
think Kyler and I should be on a podcast together at one episode.
I can't be on that one or listen to it. So we get a text in our group text, which your father it drive. Oh my God! So the whole
It's a
time
group text. It's a group text.
he's driving, I'm in the car, and he like turn off your notifications, dude. Like he's like, I don't know why you guys keep texting. Well, because we're having a conversation. If you don't want
And
to
if
be
he's
part of
not
it,
included in the group text, then it's like, oh, you and your children leave me out of everything.
well, so this group text was about Kyler getting a rabbit, but only if the rabbit could wear denim
A
jeans and suspended.
denim or a diaper.
Yeah, and then he was going to carry it around in a backpack. I'm like, that's not at all eccentric. So whatever.
Well, he doesn't do anything else that makes him fit in that state ever. Like, now
Carrying a
he's gonna
rabbit
carry a
around
rabbit.
carrier. So then he calls me last night and he's like, I've been thinking about the rabbit. And I'm like, I said, well, I know a lot of people that have rabbits as pets, like inside. I don't know what he was thinking about
Just
Snickers,
don't
which
get a meat rabbit.
Jesus, Brittany. So anyway, I told him, you're planning to move across country, maybe wait to get a pet until.
Okay, so he doesn't really want one. Because if he really wanted one, he wouldn't have called you. He would have called me or Taylor, who would have been like, oh, yeah, you can totally do that with a rabbit.
You
Go
should
for
totally
it.
do it.
I actually would have been like, let's talk about a chicken because I want some farm fresh eggs. I'm going to have you ship them to me.
Oh my God.
But that's how you know he doesn't truly want a rabbit because he called to get your opinion and not ours.
Well, and I said, if you want a rabbit, get a rabbit. Because then I thought through anytime someone told me not to get a pet, then I got one and then had to hide it. Like when Grandma Ivy used to come and we would like hide Bella from her. And why? I'm an adult. I have 3 children, but yet I'm hiding a dog from my
Oh, we
grandma.
did. Code, that's where our color codes came into play. Was when Grandma would pull up and we'd be like, code Ivy, code blue. And Bella barked.
Oh my God, all the time.
Too.
So then there was never a full family, was never in a visit. But the best part is Grandma drove a big green Cadillac and she would come barreling up through the alley and park like
In the front door.
on the patio area. And then she had a cane. So even if we didn't hear her almost drive through the front door, by the time she got through the entryway and up the steps, someone could
Because
have.
we always had the entry door closed for that reason. And then
Oh,
she had to have help up the 3 stairs that we had. So then somebody would run with the dog and the other person would run to help her up the stairs because
instead of
that's just
she surely had to know I had a dog. We had another dog. I don't know. Who knows?
that's why Taylor and I, do you remember when we hid that cat in the attic of the blue house? For like a day.
That was your
We were
dad's
horrible.
fault for bringing home a kitten and being like, "Oh, it's covered in oil.
And I don't
Wash
even
it,"
like cats.
but then return it to the outdoors.
Mm-mm.
Didn't happen. Kit
Nope.
Kat. She
Mm-mm.
lasted through. God,
Ever?
she was old. She was like 12, I think. She was outside, though she was an indoor-outdoor cat. But yeah, you
Yeah.
guys brought a cat home and hid it in the closet. That was great.
It lasted like hid for like 2 days.
Well, you left, and then Taylor was in
That
charge.
was the problem. I think I went to like ride the. Didn't I go to a horse show? Wonder if that's the horse show where I brought home the rabbit dog. I'm a very caring animal person.
The rabid dog pretty much about did us all in.
I don't know if it was the rabbit dog or the fact that we had to help the 80-year-old vet euthanize the entire farm of cats.
Oh, that was awful. And then
I think that's
incinerate
what did
them.
us in.
And then incinerate them. It wasn't just that they had to be put
Oh
down.
my gosh.
That was bad.
That was, if you ever want, let's talk about natural contingencies.
Get your animals vaccinated.
Do not take home a dog from a horse show that you know nothing about.
It was a horse sale.
It was a sale, sorry.
Yeah, oh my God. That was bad. That was so bad. I love when I'm like, I gotta leave work. I worked in a hospital and I'm like, I have to leave work. Our entire family was exposed to rabies.
I have to go
And
get my
then
rabies shot.
the best part is that not one single hospital. So where we grew up, there's probably like about 40 minutes between every hospital in the area. So
They're
the
not
whole
even
family,
true hospitals either. They're
yeah,
like
we had
hospitals.
to be farmed out throughout like a tri-county area to get our rabies vaccines, because rabies vaccines only last for a very specific amount of time, and most of the time they only keep a certain few vials.
And you have to get them within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and there's only usually a few vials because I don't know, there's not usually a high call for it for rabies.
I was also social, apparently.
What?
I was social. I showed the dog to a lot of people.
Oh, you were social. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think now nobody would ever meet the dog.
No, it'll just be you and your little family. Just exposed to the rabies. Oh my God, that was awful. I just remember it did spurn a diet phase for me because your dad and I were in the same weight bracket. He was really thin back then, to be fair, but we were in the same weight bracket and we had to be weighed and then vialed per weight. So that was awful. and it was thick. And I remember you guys all
It's
going,
so, oh my
how much do you weigh? How many vials do you need? I need 20 vials. 20. Okay. And it was that gamma globulin, whatever crap.
God.
And it was in our butts, except Kyler was so skinny. He had no fat in his butt. And so he had to have his in his thigh because he
Yeah,
was so little. But it was slow, painful, slow, painful shot. Oh my
it
God.
was not good. Mm-mm.
Not good
Nope.
at all. Nope. Good times. Good times.
Uh,
Good thing you were a farm kid. That worked well for us.
didn't it? My gosh. So tell me, didn't you just go on like a super 3-day vacation, relaxing to get away and relax? Was there a
That'd be when I was
relaxation
hiding, when I had
that
to go
happened?
take work calls in the bathroom because you called me 3 times.
I did not call you.
You
I
texted me
said,
and you
hey,
jump
I
on this
need
meeting.
you. And in my defense, you had called me that morning and already told me that dad didn't feel good and you were in the bathroom taking work information calls.
How mad will I love when I get a text? How mad will dad be if you get on this meeting?
Mhm. It
He's fine.
was, yeah.
Yeah. We went to Cody, which is I really like Cody Red Lodge, that area. It's like 6 hours from here. So it's like a good drive. It's almost too long to be in a car with your father, but whatever. And so we had a good time, but the day we're supposed to leave is a travel day, much like the last episode was a travel day that we were leaving from South Dakota to go to Wyoming. 5:45 a.m. that man is up. And we're on a twin or a queen bed that so we have a Tempur-Pedic mattress like where you don't feel the other person flop around like a fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna need a Dramamine if you don't quit plopping yourself all over. Like the whole bed was bouncing up and down every time he'd flop around. So he finally got up at 5:45 to get ready to leave. We left at 8:30. That's the last day of vacation with him is not like
In
I
his
do.
defense, okay, I'm going to defend
Oh my
him a minute
God, why are you always sticking up
because
for him?
I hate sleeping on any bed that is not my bed. First of all, I am the same way on that last day of vacation. We wake up and I'm like, I'm ready to go. It's 6 a.m. We're out. We're packed up and ready to go. Just so I can go lay flat on my own bed or couch. Like, I hate air mattresses. First of all, my entire hips go numb. Can't feel my hips at all
Well, that's not saying why we have to be up at 5:45.
because you don't sleep.
And the best part is the truth about the 5:45 travel day. Who are we always waiting for when it's time to leave?
Well, that's because he has to poop.
No, he
Because
doesn't.
you're gonna yell at him if he stops somewhere.
He thinks he might have to go to the bathroom. He does not have to. Also, this
Okay.
man, he can pick. If we are driving down the road and there's like a brand new Maverick, we have Mavericks here. If there's a brand new Maverick or like a Conoco station with a bathroom out back with like a big piece of wood you have to carry to open the door, he will stop at the Conoco station. I'm like, can we just stop somewhere where I don't have to worry about getting murdered? Nope.
You can, okay, drive through, I'm not even gonna call it a whole state, but drive through this one state and you will be amazed at how long you can hold your pee. And thank the Lord he gave you boys. Because let me tell you, some of the places we stopped, I'm like, no. I feel like, yeah, no, it's bad. But okay,
Wyoming's
I want to
really
tell this one story, so I'm gonna go to my favorite animal. Okay,
okay.
my favorite animal was my brother flying home from the Hawaii trip. If you want to talk about somebody who gets done traveling,
Oh,
like,
geez.
or I guess also riding in the 13-hour car ride home from South Dakota with my
Or
children when he decided to continue to drive the other 6 hours because he couldn't stay with me any longer.
or this last time we all flew together, and I was like, okay, I'm like, do not let Ava spill her drink everywhere. Kyler spills his drink everywhere. Like, and we get to the airport. We had a connecting flight. We had connecting flights, and his connecting flight was like 2 hours. And he's like, I'm just gonna go sit at the gate. I'm just
My brother wants to hang. He does. In the very beginning, he misses us. I know he does. But by the
only
end of the vacation, that's the how I think Christmas he was still in good spirits. I can't remember the drive back up to Minnesota.
yeah, maybe
No,
it was.
him and Travis went and sat by themselves at the gate. You're right. Like yeah, by the end of travel, he is just done. But so the Hawaii trip, how old was he? I had graduated.
Taylor was 16, so Kyler would have been 14.
Yeah. So first we started the trip by all singing at the top of our lungs to songs on the radio, which is his least
Okay.
favorite thing in the world.
We were all five of us. This is the last trip we took before like everybody went off and did whatever. So we were in the contour probably like all five
Mhm.
of us are in this car, this tiny car, and we are in going to Hawaii for 10 days. So we have luggage. Like we had to drive 3.5 hours holding our carry-ons on our lap because there was no room to put any more luggage. And
Mm-mm.
and so we're singing and trying to make the best of it, and he is done. He
He
started done because
he
he hates
started
that we
done.
don't know the words to the song. Sorry, Rain Man, I can't hear something one time and then know the entire song. So
Uh,
yeah, he was done to begin with. So we're in Hawaii for 10 days. The other person who was done was your father because we went to where we going was that the day we were going to Pearl Harbor and
uh,
he
no, it
didn't.
was in the was it Pearl Harbor or was
Yeah,
it the
because it was
snorkeling day?
we
Was
did
it
not
I
have.
thought it was the snorkeling day when he told us we couldn't move. And then the tour guide looked at us
Jackson's.
and said there was just a shark attack here. Stay within your boundaries.
My boundaries are on the sand.
They were,
So
I
that
couldn't breathe.
time your dad got mad at me because he didn't have the right shoes on.
Oh no.
And so and then we almost missed our tour bus because they kept going Jackson's party of five
Jackson's.
Jacksons, and it was us. We get on this tour bus and they put us on like the crippled kid bus because we had Taylor who couldn't walk yet.
We were also on a Make-A-Wish trip, so this was
Yeah.
all like we were on an itinerary. It was
Yes.
planned out. Taylor had chosen every activity that she wanted to do
It did not.
and
It was.
forgot half the time she was crippled at the time and could not walk. Like I swear
Oh,
she couldn't remember that.
well, and so they get us a wheelchair because she had braces and she could still like walk, but she had to have her crutches or whatever. And they get us like an extra wide wheelchair, which Hawaii is so crowded and it
It
is not
is.
handicap accessible. I will say that
Mm-mm.
about overall, like it is not like a super handicap accessible. So they have us this double wide wheelchair, which we couldn't use. So she had to walk everywhere. And so when we went to Pearl Harbor, our bus driver was this little tiny Hawaiian guy, and they had us on. It was our family with Taylor who couldn't walk, and then another family of like 10 people with their grandpa or something was like 90, and he couldn't walk either. So we were like the crippled bus. So we're going to get off, and Taylor's exhausted. She falls on the bus driver in the middle of the aisle and flattens him like a pancake. All you could see was his little legs, and I was laughing so hard. And then Taylor started laughing, and I'm like, Taylor, you've got to get off of the guy. But I couldn't get her up, and who knows where you and Kyler and your dad were. You
We were
probably
probably off the bus and in the exhibit already.
walked through the exhibit and already were done by the time I got Taylor off the bus driver. And so that
Oh
was where we
man.
decided we are not tour people. Like we cannot
No.
Not tour people.
I
Then
love
we
a good pamphlet, but I can
not,
follow it.
no, please let us just go about our business. Just let us go
Oh
somewhere.
my gosh. My favorite was when all you wanted to do was see sea turtles. Like that was all you wanted. And we kept having dad drive around looking for sea turtles. And then we had to pull over like super, super fast to find the sea turtles. Oh my gosh, he was so mad. He's like, I can't turn around here. Can't turn around.
We're
Can't
not
do
turning.
it.
Well, and then we had a van that no one knew how to run, and we somehow hit the key. So the security system went off with all the horns blaring and everything, and he is just over it because
Oh my.
he doesn't want anyone to stare at us, but yet
Mm-mm.
I
Which is so weird for me because I don't care. But the other was in Pearl Harbor, they have where you can go and you have to be silent on those platforms and stuff. Silent to my dad is not breathing. Like if we
like we
breathe
couldn't
too
even move
loud,
or
we
move.
couldn't even like shuffle our feet. Like there was absolutely, you could not make any noise, like at all. And it was,
It
yeah.
was so bad. And then he was so irritated because other people didn't follow it. And then like there's
Oh
specific
gosh.
instructions about going to Pearl Harbor. Like you have to wear sleeves. Like it
Mm-hmm.
because it's a graveyard. I mean it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
but we like had to study how we were to
How we were
act.
allowed to move, to act, what to wear,
Oh.
speak, look, what we could look at. I will say, so I think about that with my kids too, and I'm trying really hard to get them to transition into like trips. Like, let's talk about where we can go to make not like what we can get. Because I will say, I have spoiled the crap out of my children. I have. It is. There's a TikTok that's like, when you spoil your kids, but you're pissed because they're spoiled, like, and you realize it's your fault. Okay. But now I'm trying to transition them into like, remember that time we went to this place? Like, think about how fun that was. Because I can't remember. I think I got up one of the posters there, maybe. But like, I don't remember the material things, but I remember like the experience that we have going to places. Okay, let's go to, I don't know what we're talking about, but we're going to move on to our follow up of At Least I Have Water. So, my outlook on life lately is I might not have hot water at the moment, but at least I have water.
Because
That
let's
is my outlook.
let's talk about all the times I've not had water or flushes.
Exactly. So I am having to warm up the water on the stove to bathe my children, but I don't have to carry up a pan of water to have by my toilet to flush my toilet.
Or pee outside because you don't actually have the capability to flush anything down your toilet because your septic is completely full. So, why don't you have water?
We don't know. My hot water heater is broke. So we have a tankless hot water heater, and I don't even know if it could have caused it, but we did have a really bad storm the other night. And Dustin woke up that morning and turned on the shower and was waiting for it to warm up, and then he opened the shower door. I heard him, and then he closed it, and then he went to brush his teeth, which was weird because he never brushes his teeth before he showers. And then he did it again, and then all of a sudden he comes stomping out in his undies
Well, that was way more specific information than I.
and went downstairs to
That will be
our
him stomping around in his unders. That's going to be hard to get rid of.
the positive is he does not listen to us, so he will never hear that. But we have a tankless hot water heater, which to me, I'm like, just relight the pilot light. Isn't that how a hot water heater works?
I don't think it's
There's not. So it was plugged in and it had tripped the breaker. And so we thought it was from the storm. So he plugs it, redoes the breaker, plugs it back in, walks all the way back upstairs, which we don't have 3 flights. We only have 2 stories, and the water is still cold. So then he goes back down the stairs in his undies.
Well, thank God all your windows are completely shut and no light is coming in.
They are, because the plants are not out in those rooms. Anyway, it ended up not being the breaker. It ended up being the hot water heater. Is literally, you can see it's been leaking on the floor. I don't know. We don't check it. Anyway, they came. So we went a day without them. they couldn't come till the next day. And then these two guys who Kyler is now about to be 30, so they're probably like 25. And they're looking at it. First off, there was a very large spider in the water heater, so the one guy wouldn't put his face close to it. It was like, reminding me of if Huey would have taken the front panel off. He's like, whoa, there's a spider. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to need somebody to kill the spider. I'm like, okay, well, can you just, come on, kid.
Was he a plumber?
Anyway.
They were
plumbers.
What,
they were plumbers.
Sorry, isn't there a lot grosser things they're dealing with than
you would think.
You know what?
Huey, have you met Huey?
Yeah, also.
Have you met Huey?
Also, I'm not going to say anything about bugs. Never mind.
Yeah. Okay. So they finally look around and everything. By the way, while they finally show up, I'm on a meeting with our entire staff, and we're trying to talk about
telling them to have their cameras on.
Telling them to have their cameras on during the meeting. And I'm like, of course, my plumber's coming, so I'm going to have to shut my camera off. And we're talking about changing up some things. And I can hear some strong, in my ear, I could hear and I couldn't answer. And then I could hear and I couldn't answer. So I'm trying to run back and forth between the computer and the plumbers. And I'm like, guys, can you just look at this without me standing right here? Like, don't steal any of our shit.
What if there was another spider?
I should have asked. I don't know. There was two of them. The one guy did kill the one spider, so I think he could help the other guy out. Anyway, finally they're like, it has to be replaced. I was like, okay, how long do you think that would take? So then they're like, well, we got to get a hold of the homeowner, blah, 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 all of these lines. And so I text our homeowners who are very responsive, and they're like, I wonder what could have made it leak.
Not the
I don't know, Frank. I guess honestly, you know what? I did not ask that question.
Well, so
I don't know, but so we have no hot water. But so last night, I have boys, so Cash did get sent home to school or get to school yesterday with some dry shampoo in his hair, some deodorant, and some body spray. But they both had baseball last night, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. So we filled up the tub and let the water sit a minute, and then we boiled some water on the stove, and then we dumped the hot water into the cold water, which made it lukewarm water. And surprisingly, which boy do you think reacted more dramatic than the other boy for the bathing?
Because Cash, it was Huey? Well,
Hugh, you would have thought
he probably likes a nice bubble bath, and
he does. And so then afterwards, I got him the heating pad under 2 blankets and warmed him back up. Cash, he is just excited he got to take a bath again.
Well, because he showered. So the best part about, the breaker thing, good thing that your breaker popped so that you didn't start your house on fire. So the house we were moving out of, a breaker kept popping. And I'm like, oh my God, of course, we finally sell this house and now something's wrong with the electrical. Well, finally, I would say, so my friend came and stayed with us, who is a maniac. Anyway, she got a small electrocution happen. It was the vacuum cleaner that your dad had rewired after Henry chewed through the cord that was popping the breaker. And when Susie went to plug it in, it finally electrocuted her and burned a little bit on the...
I feel like he might have set it up that way.
Well, no, he's the only one that vacuums, and he had started before she even got there. It kept popping the breaker. I don't ever vacuum, so I was completely safe in that situation, safe from electrocution 2024. Yeah. So
if there was an accidental cleaning incident, you would not be involved in it.
Safe. And why is that though, Brittany? Why would I be safe?
Same way I got out of doing laundry my entire life growing up. Or dishes except for silverware growing up. It is very easy to get out of doing things. Actually, you know what? I still am not allowed to fold laundry correctly when I come home to visit. And I'm okay with that. You know what? I get to go home and my dad does my laundry. I am 36 years old. My dad does my laundry.
But the sighing that occurs while he's doing the things that he won't let you do because you don't do them correctly that's where
doesn't bug me. Nope. And I also don't care if there's any okay, so I do I love my mother-in-law and I love when she comes to organize my kitchen and everything. And I'm okay with she is silently judging me. I'm not saying she is, but if she is silently judging me as a housekeeper, I am okay with that because it's getting done. I just
Yeah, I
accept
think
it.
we talked through that during the first part of your marriage where I'm like, just be done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it did take me a minute to get there.
Yeah.
Or if you come to decorate my office, even if I have put in hours of trying to make it look appropriate and you just come in and redo it, I'm okay with that.
To look decorate, had you
I have
decorated it?
learned. Yes, I had. I just had not hung my stuff, but that's okay. I worked through it. And when Huey comes in and wants to redo something and clean it up, that because I didn't clean it up good enough, that's okay. I'm okay with that. The only one who irritates me is my husband when he's silently judging me or
Oh,
looks at me and I'm like, I know what you're thinking. He's like, I was not thinking what. Oh, the other day he came home early from work. Okay, my husband never comes home early from work without me like knowing he has the day off early or something. But I'm in a meeting. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's pulling up. What is happening? We're gonna work through a therapy session really quick here in our new segment of Britt's therapy session. Anyway, I am like, why? He didn't tell me he was coming home, and I went down. I'm like, what's going on? Well, they didn't have electricity or something at base, so they got sent home, and our day sucked, so I had to come straight back up into my whatever meeting we were in. And so I couldn't ask him any questions, but in my head, all of a sudden I got pissed because he didn't tell me he was coming home. And so I'm like, you knew you were coming home. Shoot me a text that says you're coming home. You didn't shoot me a text that you were coming home because you don't think I actually work and you wanted to catch me not working. Or back in the day, 3 years ago, when I maybe probably did have a drink or two at home before he got home, and I thought he would be catching me doing something bad. So, like, had to think through that in my head, and I got mad at him though because he didn't tell me he was coming home, and I thought he was trying to catch me doing something, which I'm an adult. I honestly, it is what it is. But I was pissed at him for it, for not telling me he came home early.
are you an adult though?
No, not not an adult. Honestly, if we want to, I would like to operationally define an adult. I
Um,
mean, legally age limits, I'm an adult, but I know he was silently judging me, even though he says he was not. That's the only one that bugs me.
with
Anyone else can
your
silently judge me, and I don't care.
with your husband, it's really hard to guess if he's silently judging you or just really not
Does
doesn't
not.
care.
Didn't think it through in his head, like, oh, hey, I should shoot her a text, but hey, she's probably busy, so I'm not going to bug her to tell her I'm coming home because she'll know I'm home when I'm home. Yeah, no.
Well,
I'm
so
going to go with silently judging.
I didn't read our book this week because I don't know what happened. So, I mean, I sort of know what happened, but things happen and I didn't get our book done because work has been crazy, which is interesting because we work the majority of all of our company owners are Muslim and it's Ramadan, the month of peace for our company owners, which equates to the month of unrest for those that are not practicing Ramadan. So Ramadan is fasting from sunup to sundown, a lot of prayer, a lot of self-reflection, a time of peace, which I every Ramadan for the last 3.5 years that we have, or 4 years. How long have we worked in Minnesota? 4 years? I mean, I know we've been in, yeah,
5, 4,
I don't know, four. So
4.
the last 4 years, Ramadan is one of the most stressful months.
This is our 4th Ramadan.
Yeah. This is the most stressful month of my life because it puts everybody is on its axis. Like I think
I
don't know.
feel this is my I feel statement of the day. That it actually gets more stressful for us because I think we understand it more now than we did in the beginning, and we are trying to like take off some of that stress.
Mhm.
Like we have things that are happening now that we're maybe trying to maybe handle more internally instead of like bring it,
Oh yeah,
because we
maybe.
know that it is a time of peace and a time of like not having that stress happen. So as
And
much as we
also,
can, I do feel like we're trying to take that burden off a little bit because we understand it more.
and trying to think through not
And
having anything past your lips, water or food.
yeah, and we understand it. Yeah. Okay, we don't understand it in that sense, but we understand the parameters of it,
Yeah,
and so we're more empathetic towards it even though we don't.
maybe. I don't know. One of our
I don't
owners,
know.
she's like, "Are you fat? Are you gonna fast with me this Ramadan?" And I'm like, "I might have to catch you on the next Ramadan. I'm pretty sure that I am not gonna be able to." It is the self discipline that they
It
learn
does.
at such an
Yeah.
early age. Like we have clients that are, doing their own modified Ramadan and fasting,
Mhm.
and also like the prayer, and just
Yeah.
there's so many pieces to it that I don't understand, but I do know that it does. I think us trying to accommodate, which I think is just something we automatically decided to do. I don't think we ever had any discussion about it. We just
Mm-mm.
knew after the
And we're
first
trying to
year.
increase our flexibility more now too.
Yeah.
Like with clients and staff and everyone to, I don't know.
Right.
The first couple of years I think we were still learning, and
Yeah.
I know my mindset was probably like, oh no, this is how it's supposed to do. You need to adjust to me instead of us adjusting to you. And that's, I think, a growth
Well, and
period for us.
as a clinician too, we change the way we do certain things during to meet the needs of our clients and clients' families and of our practitioners, right? So like
Hmm.
so Ramadan hit, the first week was before daylight savings time. So their break fast was right during like a prime time. We do a lot of sessions,
Sessions.
and most of the BTs won't tell us. And I remember
Hmm.
one of the first years, um, the one BT I saw all the time, he's like, "Can I just go? I'm just gonna go really quick, and I need to break fast, and I'll just grab a date and do my
But
prayers."
they have
And
to pray before they can
yeah,
break
and
that
I'll come
fast.
back, and I'm
So,
like, you know what? After the third time, I'm like, all you have to do is tell me, and I will adjust how we
my
do
schedule.
sessions.
Hmm.
Also, knowing that that last hour before breaking fast is probably not going to be the most productive time for that BT. And if the client is able to do a modified version, they're also getting them ready to go to prayer, and
Hmm.
everything is all off schedule. So I just think it's a really good practice to think about, not just for Ramadan, but any sort of cultural aspects that your clients and your practitioners have, that we as the owners of the company or the supervising BCBAs, we have to be respectful of that. And I think
Yeah.
we can sometimes get so caught up in the protocols and everything else that we don't take that into account. I always use, we had my supervisor, that was my supervisor, had clients that they wanted their child to be able to sit for really long periods of time. And she's like, when she first started talking to him, she's like, well, that's not realistic, blah blah blah. It ended up being because of a family thing or
Religious.
religious
Yeah.
thing, or and it was really important to them as a family to do it together, and that was one of the barriers of that
Hmm.
client not being able to sit and attend. And what are the tools we can give that client so they can attend for part of it or whatever. And so I think that's one
Well,
of the things.
and I will say, okay, so I just did an ITP this morning for Minnesota, and one of the questions, I tend to not have a positives to say about ITPs, but one of the questions in the Minnesota one specifically is like, how does the deficits impact the family's ability to participate in the community?
Yeah.
And the Minnesota ITPs was the first time So we started there 4 years ago, and I have been in the field for almost 20 years now. It was the first time I've seen that question like asked on a treatment plan. And I think that is such an important question to ask because our goals should look at how can we make that impact less? How can they participate more with their family in the community or in the religious or in the school, in the go shopping, like things like that.
Well, and
And I think
that's
that's
when
what we try to do.
we look at social validity, and we have a lot of, so in the Somali culture, it is autism, a developmental disability, a physical disability are not as accepted. I think that the families that live here is a little better, but we had a family who they were so concerned about a vocal stem because he was loud and he talked, and it wasn't just sounds, like he talked through things. Um and he was older, and the one BCBA that I was working with was like, I don't, this isn't important. We're not going to target this. And I said, it is so important to dad that he is able to take his son out in the community without him having that loud, like it was yelling. And they lived in a big apartment, like high rise in Minnesota. They have these really big apartment high rises. And he, like neighbors complained about his, because he was so loud, his vocal. And so, but like dad, the minute we were able to help him gauge like how loud was like talking, like his voice levels, and we tried
The
different things
volume.
like
Yeah.
putting an app on his phone where he could see how loud he was being or whatever. But it was really important for dad. Like, and maybe it wasn't the most important, when you look at the goals overall, but that was a goal we targeted because of like it hindered him leaving the apartment. Going with dad specifically, it didn't bother mom so much, but also as a male in that community, it's so important for him to be with other males. And so that was just something that we focused on, even though in the scheme of things, would, if it was, your son and it was a vocal stemming, would it I mean, I don't know if I would be like, is that important, or where does that work, unless you could
Yeah.
explain why it mattered so much to you.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing is what are they losing access to
Yeah, and
versus what
it's
are
the
they gaining
participation.
access to?
Yeah.
Not, I think what's taught in school is like, oh, it's not important or it's annoying
Mhm.
versus like a safety goal or
Safety,
something.
or yeah.
However, if it's limiting access
Mhm.
to other reinforcing opportunities or situations, then that's how it should be looked at and worded
Yeah,
versus
I agree.
it's annoying. So,
Oh, there's
all
your
right.
moment on accident. Oh my god, I almost BCBA'd for a minute. Yee.
You did BCBA. I know. It's
Not doing that again.
crazy. Okay, let's go to our pit and our peak
Oh god, you
for the
go
week.
first. I gotta think.
My pit would probably be that we don't have hot water.
You have got to get tougher. Although I did tell you have to shower every day.
No,
And what was
as
your
I
comment?
said, my
What was,
comment was I wish I was depressed right now. In a depressive episode, I wouldn't have to shower.
that is so wrong.
Oh, my peak would probably. What has happened this week? I think that my peak would actually be how much Cash like wants to learn and be better at baseball. Like he does actually love the sport
Oh,
and he
that's awesome.
wants to get better at it. So that's probably my peak is I
Mm.
do get to be a baseball mom.
Okay, so my pit and peak. I think my pit is that there was another snowstorm and we have 6 inches of snow on the ground, and I'm about over winter in general. My peak is that I would say after, how long have I lived here? 4 months? 3 months? We're going on 3.5 months. I'm finally getting my house organized a little bit more. Not a lot, but
It's
just
coming
a
through.
smidge.
I'm
Oh,
actually gonna add a peek.
okay. What
I
is
don't
it?
know. I'm sure you've heard this already too, but I'm totally gonna put her on blast. But Alicia got past her merit
Oh,
review
yeah.
for the school for her dissertation, is on to the next step. That's
Yeah.
probably one of my, I'm so proud of
Yeah.
her.
We
She's gonna
talked
hate
about,
that I brought that up, but
I know, but we talked about that because the process to get your PhD is,
a lot. And she is killing it as in everything. She's a mom. She's
I don't know. Today, I think she fell asleep on our meeting for a minute. She was talking all of a sudden. So the best part is Alicia and I are presenting at CAS, which is a big conference. It's a big conference. And I am a last minute kind of presenter. I just am. And she's coming up but to be fair, she's coming up
is
with this
not.
whole system of how we're figuring out caseloads and all this stuff. But we're on a meeting today and I'm like, I said something and then she like in mid sentence just looked at me and then stopped talking. I'm like,
Did she fall asleep?
did you fall asleep? Did you fall asleep? She's
Oh
gonna
my
end up killing
god.
me. If I make it through
Yes.
that conference without her punching me just directly in the head, will
One
be
of your dog barking incidents to check to see if you're going to get murdered will be her at your door.
if it is, I'm gonna run like the wind super fast.
Oh my god. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to wrap this up. If you want to find us on Facebook at And Then She Said and Instagram at And Then She Said Podcast, I do believe we also are on YouTube. And I think we have some type of blog situation coming. But we are also going to be, because we talk too much and we love hearing ourselves talk to our one person who listens, we are also going to be starting Powered by K Now Podcast. So be on the lookout for that. And that's a wrap.